All right. Good morning, everyone. I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of you guys for being here. We are going to be discussing commitment rewards and the program. And beside me, I have some lovely people. I'll have them just kind of real quickly go introduce themselves.
It's Todd Roberts. I am the Commitment Rewards Sales Program Manager.
I'm Susie Zenz from Grass Lake, Michigan. We're a cash crop and dairy farm.
I'm her husband, Tom.
I'm also Tom Hooper. Been with Beck's 35 years. Title's Director of Business on the leadership team, but at the end of the day, I just try to do what Sonny and Scott asked me to do.
That's a good motto. And I'm Hannah Rail. I'm our Immediate Industry Relations Coordinator. I work here on our marketing team. And I have the privilege of being joined by you guys for this topic. Commitment rewards. It has been a long-standing program for the last 15 years. It's grown and grown. But I'd like to take you back to that boardroom back in 2009. Tom, can you kind of go through what that whole story is and kind of how it came to be?
You know, it's amazing how things can turn around. The program really started in 2009, but the story starts really September 11, 2001. So that morning before the first plane hit the tower, I actually had a Kawasaki mule delivered. And my idea was I got a lot of kids, and so my kids were going to use that mule to go out and pick up rocks and bring them in, and then maybe also use it, as a toy. Kids could drive it around or whatever. And what I found out was that what I had bought, I didn't spend enough money. It didn't have a hydraulic dump bed on it. And then when I could get the kids to go pick up rocks, they may have a half a load, and that was it. And it was kind of cold-natured. And then the thing is 6 weeks old, and my daughter Larissa, who was 10 years old at the time, asked if she could drive it. And I said, sure. So she's driving down the road, and this tree wasn't moving, but she hit it. And thankfully, she wasn't hurt. Okay, the only thing that was hurt was her ego and my mule. And so I complained about it, because what I do really well is complain about things. And so 8 years later, I've got a friend who's a John Deere salesman, said, hey, I'll trade you a John Deere Gator for this mule. I'll give you $4,000. The mule's going to be 12, but it's a list price of 16. But I'll give you a good deal. It's $8,000 a trade. Well, I really didn't have $8,000 to buy a new Gator, and so I told him that. And so he quickly told me I needed to find 4 friends, because if we bought 5 of them, it'd only be $7,000 a trade. And so I thought about it over the weekend, come in on a Monday morning, and I made a proposal to the leadership team, because Sonny says, hey, we need to spend a little bit of the money that we have that other companies would be given shareholder profits to. Let's think about how we might take some of that money and get more of a commitment from a farmer. Because at Technology Days, we'd had a lot of farmers maybe order seed, and then later in the year, somebody come along and offer them corn $5 or $10 cheaper, and they would cancel their order. And we had planned on it, delivered to the dealers and all that. And so the idea I brought into the leadership team on a Monday morning is, what if every time a guy ordered a bag of corn, if he agreed not to cancel it, we give him a chance on a Gator, and we'll just give a Gator away at each of our shows. We had 5 days of shows at that time. Well, they approved the deal. And so I called my John Deere salesman up that night and said, hey, I got 5 John Deere Gators sold. And he goes, good, when do I deliver yours? And I said, well, it's not for me, it's for Beck's. And he actually criticized me a little bit, and he says, you need to be thinking bigger. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, here's the price if we do 100 Gators. And I said, what do you mean, 100 Gators? And he goes, well, a company like Beck's, he goes, there's a lot of farmers that could find value in those. And so he gave me that price. So I used that price on 100 Gators to come in with another plan the next Monday. I said, forget about giving one away. Let's give lots of farmers the chance to get them. And so that idea was that if a farmer bought $50,000 worth of seed, we'd give them a chance to buy a Gator at half price. And at half price, if we did 100, we'd be subsidizing $1,000. So you could either get a Gator at half price, or we'd give you $1,000 off your seed purchase. Well, the half price Gator was a much better deal. We ordered 50 Gators, and we released the program. And so honestly, within the first few days, we went through 50 Gators, and I ordered another 50. And so we get to Technology Days, the program's moving pretty quickly. way better than what I thought it would be. And honestly, probably the best part of the whole program and starting it is again, a farmer walks up, and we were just across the road right here. We actually had more people in line waiting to get gators than we had people ordering seed. And they're like, give me a gator. I'll figure my order out later. So this farmer comes up and he says, Tom, I don't like your program. And I said, well, tell me more. And he says, well, here's the deal. He goes, I'm only buying a third of my seed from Beck's right now. But if I gave you all of my seed, it would take me 3 years to get to $50,000. He goes, I'm willing to sign an agreement to buy all my seed for 3 years, but you guys won't do that. And I said, well, who told you that? Well, somebody over here. And I said, well, let's see if we could do that. And so I texted Sonny, I texted Scott, I tried calling them, but they were busy talking to people like we got right here today, right? Where are they at? And so I just told the farmer, I said, I'll tell you what. I said, if you'll sign an agreement. So we wrote out a handwritten agreement on a 3-year deal. He agreed to buy all his seed. We got him a gator for half price, shipped it out that day. And so think about that the idea for a 3-year deal in Commit Reward came from a farmer telling me he was upset. Today, that's 85% of all of the Beck's business. This farmer signed up for 3 years, some of them more than that, and making commitments. And so that's really how the program started. Today, it's like the biggest buying group, thousands. We got 25,000 customers buying corn and beans from us, and 85% of that business is people. So today, it's rich rewards. If if you're participating in the program, buying one piece of red equipment, you're getting the same discount value as somebody buying $12.5 million of equipment. And honestly, it just seems like the biggest gimmick in the world, but it just really works.
I like how you ended on that gimmick. I want to take it back to the farmer and talk about those first impressions, because that all sounds great, but where's the catch?
There's no catch. I said it 10 years ago. We were chopping for a guy that got a tractor for free for 3 years, and the boy says, Dad, we got to do this. And I said, boys, it won't last. I said, by the time we get around to it, that program's going to be gone. And here we are 9 years later, and we're signed up today for another 3-year commitment to go again right now. So the program definitely does work.
Todd, could you share of any other impressions or kind of customers maybe that have been hesitant on the program, and kind of how your team kind of mitigates those early conversations?
Well, yeah. So the comment that some people use is it's a gimmick, right? You said it's gimmicks, not going to last too long, and that really started from our competition, because they don't have a program like this, and they're kind of jealous of it because they saw people taking advantage of it. Might have been even losing a little bit of business because of it, and so what else could they do but kind of poke fun at it? But so you could call it a gimmick, you could call it whatever you want to, but truly, we know that it's a financial tool that really helps our customers and their business succeed by infusing working capital and leveraging some buying power across those 22,000 customers like Tom mentioned, and finding a tangible asset. Maybe it's a Suburban or a truck too, right? Maybe, Susie? Yeah. I kind of heard that maybe you got one of those.
I did.
But whether it be a tractor or a air compressor or whatever it might be for the farm, this program is going to leverage our buying power to give a tangible asset. And so you call it a gimmick, we call it a financial tool, bottom line. And so that's how we try to navigate the system of, every farmer has a long list of equipment you need, right? And so if we can just help you a little bit along that way by infusing some capital, especially during these times, it's beneficial.
Well, and to go back to what he said, when we first did this, 2 of our sons actually farm in a separate entity. And that first year when they were talking about these tractors, so we each got one. Our farm got one, and their farm got the tractor. And again, they were like, this can't be real. But for 3 years, they had it was a give back, but it was a 3-year lease. But it was the greatest thing ever. And then the gentleman that he was dealing with on, I won't name the competition seed, but when he went to sign up the first time, he said, wait a minute, I can probably get you a tractor. Well, where was it at before today, right? It wasn't there when we first started, but now knowing that Bex was doing this, they were going to try to offer him something, and he's been with Bex ever since too.
I want to kind of take it back. Todd, you had mentioned this about there's no other program in the industry like Commitment Rewards. Can you kind of talk about what that that value that Beck's farmer has versus another farmer who may not be in the program at all?
Well, so we feel like it's a return on your seed investment is what it's like. So Tom mentioned that, Sonny started the program. How can we give a little bit back to our customers like a shareholder? And so Beck's is in business because of our customers. Our customers buy our seed, and as a result, we're able to do what we do. And so we consider them like shareholders, even though they're not. But this it's a return on your seed investment. And then to Tom's point about leveraging 3 years worth of purchases, we're going to give you an upfront return on what you're buying in 3 years today. And so where else can you get an investment return in the 6, 8, 9, 10% range and get it before you've ever spent the money, or even paid for the asset or the seed, right? And so it's just a unique situation that, again, infuses working capital into a farm in advance of when you're actually paying Beck's for it.
Tom, you are very business-minded, so we have a lot of business-minded farmers like you. There's often a question of them saying, why don't you just guys lower my seed price?
And the first thing I tell them is that we can do that, but honestly, that's not the best deal for you. And what I tell them is I farm a couple thousand acres myself, and I will tell you, so when I got a new grain cart, my banker realized that I had this asset on my balance sheet that there was no liability for, right? And she's like, where did the money go to pay for that grain cart? I was like, well, it's in my seed purchase over the next 3 years, right? So you got this huge asset that's on the balance sheet. She's like, well, here's a 0.5% less interest rate on your line of credit, right? That's a benefit that was related to commitment rewards, and then same thing, a couple years later, accountant's like, well, where'd this hopper bottom trailer come from, right? And so it's just like, well, we need to appreciate it. Like, well, okay, let's talk about that. I don't know that we can because I only paid $1 for it. Okay, and so all of these conversations benefit the farmer from a working capital standpoint and a financial. And honestly, I didn't understand all of those benefits on my own farm. We had to kind of work through those and let my accountant, let my banker help me understand what the benefits were to that. And while, I thought I knew, right, you really don't realize how significant those benefits are until you participate in the program.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, we do get asked that question a lot too, and exactly as Tom said, but we can give a small price decrease or a credit if you wanted to, but that's going to amount to about 2 or 3%. On average, most customers can see between 9 and 12% return on their money if they leverage buying power, and we haven't talked about the interest-free payback yet, to where you can borrow some money from Beck's. Beck's is going to pay your interest. And so when you add it up, you're going to get 3 to 4 times return on your money or savings if you let us use that money and leverage the buying power of our customers that are part of the program.
And then Todd came up with this great idea of a roll forward, right? And so I'm in a 3-year agreement, but yet now I need a new piece of equipment. And so he's allowed me to roll forward into a new agreement and get another piece of equipment before that first 3-year deal was done. I mean, it's just an amazing tool that we've got to help a farmer from a financial situation.
I kind of want to go back to the basics. So there's a lot of people here at Becknology Days that may have never experienced commitment rewards on their farm, or they're kind of skeptical. Can you kind of just go back to what the program is, how to get involved, what multi-year agreement means, the point system, kind of just like those basic things where they can be like, oh, okay. And then kind of more information on how they can make a decision today.
So one of the common misperceptions would be that you have to plant 100% Beck's to participate. That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true. And so really it takes about, if you're a corn bean customer, split 50-50, about 150 acres of Beck's seed gets you into the program, that you can start to experience some of the benefits. And so I'm sure, I don't know if you started, ask you, did you start 100% Beck's, or did you try?
We did the first 3 years.
Yep.
We did. We jumped in full
Jumped
bore.
right in.
Yeah,
which is typical.
It's yep.
But some of our
because
customers,
we did price the seed with other companies. We took and compared apples to apples, and the savings was like $20,000, and we got the 2 tractors, a fuel cart, the first 3 years, and it was a no-brainer.
And so it helped your farm.
And you can't say that it's for the large guy either, because we even have neighbors that now they purchase 10 bags, 15 bags. They still qualify for the smaller toys that they can purchase and still benefits them the same as it does us, the larger farmer.
Yep. So there's a lot of benefits to the program too. We work hard to find items that we feel like help farmers succeed. And then we have a few kind of fun items typically in the program. Occasionally we'll have a ski-doo and a boat and other things like that, and some Dyson hair dryers, and you might think are kind of quirky, but
Think of everybody.
they work. But
Think about my 2-year-old grandson who was here yesterday. He was really on me to get that little forklift. Okay,
Yeah.
he wants me to sign a new deal.
that fork truck was the little kid's fork truck was the fastest item ever added to our program. We got a video of it. And the next day, we happened to be talking to some of our leadership team, and we showed it to our leadership team, and all those that were grandparents was like, "That's in the program," that quick. So we got this little cool. So that it just evolves. So we have some fun with it, but we focus on practicality. But what I like most about it is that regardless of the size of farm that you are, you're going to see a benefit from financial, from buying power, and from interest savings across the board. So there's a lot of different levers that can matter to a different customer.
Now they got some of those forklifts left.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Have you seen it yet?
No,
Oh, you got to come
we're
see it.
going.
The mast even goes up and down, and it is the
You
coolest.
can lift
little thing.
22 pounds.
Yeah, it's cool.
Plus, you have a little remote control. You can have fun with it in the barn.
Now let's talk kind of as the program's grown so much in the last 15 years, do you have any special announcements or, no, I'm just kidding. But just how do you see the program maybe in the future?
Well, it's going to remain focused on helping farmers succeed. That's what we're here for at Beck's. And so, however it evolves, it's going to have that at the core of what we do, what we source, what companies we work with. And that's the other thing probably to mention is the types of companies that we have in our program. We like to have American-made products with family-owned companies as a focus of ours because we have similar values and we have similar cultures that are here to help serve. And so that, to me, that's my future, and Tom might add something to it from his perspective.
And don't think it just has to be the equipment, because our son built a shop last year, and Beck's helped pay for a portion of that too through his points.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not just what's in the book.
A part of the story I don't share a lot of times, but I was finishing my MBA up at a pretty renowned university in the state of Indiana. I won't say who that was, but I was taking a marketing class. And so to kind of make it easy, I used this program. I wrote it up as my capstone for that class. Well, I got a B, okay? And he says, neat idea, will never work, right? And so to think that now 16, 17 years later,
Right.
we're still doing the same marketing program, right? So there's a lot of people that have voted against this, thought about it. I think that we've done a great job of evolving, listening to customers and moving with the marketplace, but the basic tenets of it are still the same. Our customers become a shareholder with the company, and there's a trust, there's a bond that develops. We have to trust you, and you have to trust us. And I think that's in any relationship, there's nothing better than having trust develop between two individuals. And I think that part of the program is what's going to continue.
And off the side of that, it's good to see Scott and Sonny walking around out here with the people and mingling. They're still part of the company. They're there, and you can talk to them just like I'm talking here. They're friendly. They're good people.
Thank you. Scott's boys working the show.
Yep.
Son Jason's in here, been taking sales orders every day. Has had lots of dealers. Chris has been out here before, I think, 5 o'clock every morning, making sure that we're ready for traffic and making sure all the trash is cleaned up, nothing blowed away overnight. And then Corey, he's been giving multiple presentations every day. And then in between presentations, he was out on the concrete greeting people when they came in this morning. So we've got multiple generations involved in business. Other family members that are involved. I saw Ethan and Hallie come in. They drove over from Illinois this morning to be here to work the show. And so it is a family company.
Just to kind of wrap up before I ask one final question, there might be a farmer here that maybe a seed was just planted what if you could just give one piece of a snippet of about CR, a kind of a call to action, if maybe they kind of needed more information or want to get involved?
Well, I'll go first, and maybe we'll just go around, let everybody answer that. But the first one I would say is, if a seed isn't planted, or if you're just curious, have a conversation with us. To what Tom said, is it's a trust. So we trust our customers, and there has to be a mutual trust. But let us help you. Let us explain this program and how it might impact you personally and your personal farm and your personal situation, because it's very customizable. And it's, we're not here to push anything on you you're not comfortable with. And so it's a very flexible program, and just be open to it is what I would say.
About 10 years ago, we moved into Missouri, and we had a customer from Missouri drove over here on this motorcycle. I've got a motorcycle. We went that night to dinner, but he started in Commit Rewards. You're kind of that 150-acre type deal you're talking about. He just tried us. A year later, he rolled into a full commitment. So then fast forward 5 years after that, we're hiring a new competitive dealer in Missouri. That dealer asked that farmer to come show up. And so this customer who's rode his motorcycle over is up speaking in front of the customers of this new dealer, just starting with Beck's. He'd been with a competitive company for a long time. And one of the guys in the row said, "Hey, do you have any regrets about being with Beck's and being in the Commit Rewards?" And that farmer up there at the front of the meeting said, "Yeah, I do have one regret." And I'm like, "Oh my." And so what he said was amazing to me. He says, the only regret I have is not going all the way with Beck's the first year. And I think that's the greatest testimony, right? And so there's nothing better to have a guy to not trust you at all to begin with, and that's okay. But what he said is we earned his business, right, in that trust. He gave us that trust, and we were doing what we needed to do on the other side to earn that trust. And so there's nothing better in life, I think, than that, to have that type of thing happen.
Yeah, and I know over the years, we've actually gained other farmers in our area that now have Becks as well. Seeing what we've gained, they've also joined it as well.
One last thing, favorite item.
Who goes first there?
I like them all.
Yeah.
There's so many.
I just don't farm enough to get as many of the things I'd like to have.
Yeah, I'm a kid in a candy store in there. So a big truck's pretty cool. I'm going to go with our trucks. We have a great truck program, great discounts with trucks. Everybody needs a pickup truck, and what this program offers with our fleet buying power is pretty significant. So
I think one marketing plug I want to make is that we're building a tool on our website that will have, anyone that can come to the landing page, put their points in, and you can kind of see what items you qualify for. It's a very interactive feature, and it really can help farmers who maybe are kind of nervous to have that first conversation. They can go on the website and kind of get a feel for the program and maybe what they qualify for before they even reach out for any questions. So that's something really cool that we're working on. But I want to thank you all for being here and for sharing your story and your experiences. And Tom, thank you for the history behind the program, because it is it's amazing to see what it's really evolved into today. So I wish you the best last Becknology days of the year, and thanks for being with us.
And Tom and Susie, thanks so much for being great customers and good sports to come up here and help us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.